What's going on, guys? I'm Coach Jacob, and welcome to the Shift Fitness Systems YouTube channel, where we help men over 30 look good, feel good, and get after it. And today we are talking about all things high intensity interval training. Today we're going to cover what high intensity actually means, the three biggest mistakes I see guys make whenever they try to integrate this type of training into their programming, and some ways that you can actually benefit from the training so that you can really grip it, rip it, burn fat, build muscle, build endurance, and have a good time doing it. So at this point, I've coached over 100 guys in their 30s trying to get back into shape, improve their athleticism, feel good, move better, build muscle,
beans, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams,
and do all the stuff that just makes you feel like an awesome person. And I personally have been in the gym since I was about 5 years old. I've tried pretty much every type of training that there is, from bodybuilding and powerlifting to Ironman endurance racing to mobility to just all of the stuff, right? And one thing that I have learned about the fitness industry is that it, like a lot of pop culture, like a lot of social life, is very trendy. And right now, the trend is high intensity interval training. Since the rise of CrossFit and the high intensity interval training classes, that type of methodology and that type of approach has absolutely caught fire. And honestly, I love that type of training, and it's super effective for all the things that it's actually touted to do in elevating your fat burning, in trying to increase your endurance aerobically and anaerobically, to power output, to workout efficiency and time efficiency, VO2 max increase, lactate threshold increase. All of this stuff that it actually touted to do, it does do. Plus, how awesome is it to absolutely try to rip the pedals off the assault bike? But unfortunately, and there's always a but, most people are applying this type of training in a way that is actually counterproductive for their fitness and endurance gains in the long run, and creates a plateau in results achieved from this type of training. Now, if you're just using high intensity interval training, or as we'll call it from now on, HIIT, to burn some calories and sweat a little bit, then honestly, keep doing you. But if you're like me and you want to see tangible results from your training that you can see in your performance and how you feel, how you look, and how you actually move, then you're going to want to avoid the mistakes that we're going to talk about. So first, I need to define what high intensity interval training, or HIIT, actually is. Because unfortunately, just like a lot of things, when they get popular, it loses its roots in its actual meaning and intent. And the root of this training methodology is intensity. Intensity, just like in weightlifting, doesn't mean hard, doesn't mean difficult, doesn't mean it burns, doesn't mean it makes you sweat, doesn't mean you're sore after. Intensity is a measure of objective output compared to your maximum. So something that is 100% of your maximum is as intense as something can possibly be. And as it goes down the scale, it becomes less and less intense. In the case of interval training, we're talking about your VO2 max. So the maximal amount of oxygen that your body uses whenever it's performing work. So running, swimming, rowing, lifting weights, all of that stuff stimulates your body to use oxygen to create energy so that you can keep working. This number is a concrete number and has absolutely nothing to do with your subjective feeling about how difficult something. So your output relative to your VO2 max determines the intensity of what you are doing. Not if it's tiring, not if it burns, and not if it's just feeling difficult. This is crucially important because being able to actually perform high intensity, meaning relative to your VO2 max, intervals, determines whether or not you actually get the results that all of the HIIT training lore talks about. So this leads me to my first mistake that I see most guys making when they try to incorporate HIIT into their training. I've coached over 100 guys, and probably 3 to 5 of them have actually been in shape enough to be able to do a proper HIIT workout for 4 to 6 to 8 intervals of a hard 30-second output. So the problem here is that you are not aerobically fit enough to be able to reap the benefits from high intensity training. Because you can't recover between intervals, you don't have the ability to maintain the high enough output that you need to be able to actually stimulate the results from high intensity training. So because you can't recover between the intervals, that means your output has to drop. And when your output drops, even though the workout feels difficult still because you're trying really hard, your output's not high enough to actually stimulate the results from high intensity training. A lot of times you'll see people's output drop by 20, 30, even 50% between 1 to 2 to 3 intervals on their first HIIT workout. What this indicates is that your body is not aerobically fit enough to recover between the high intensity output intervals, and therefore your work quality has to drop. So at this point, you're not doing high intensity training, you're just inflicting pain and suffering and doing a tough workout, which is totally fine, but is going to diminish your results and decrease the quality of your workouts over time. So to avoid this mistake, consider building what we call your aerobic base before doing your HIIT sessions. Building your aerobic base doesn't have to just be boring, sitting on a bike, pedaling, talking to Jan and Susie next to you. What it can be though is intervals of 3 to 15 minutes of high quality work using mixed modalities. You can use kettlebells, assault bikes. You can really do anything as long as your heart rate is staying in that zone 2, high zone 2, low zone 3 type of effort. What this is going to do is this going to build your ability to recover from work, which means that between your hard sets of 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, you have the ability to actually reconnect and reassimilate the energy that you need to be able to push hard interval after interval. All right, guys, real quick, if you're feeling bored with your training, your workouts need a little bit more excitement, your body's feeling kind of stiff, and you've been just doing the same 5 sets of 10 on the same exercises for the past 15 years, then check out the link in our bio, throw your email in there. We have a 5-day email free exercise upgrade course where each day you get a different exercise that's going to not only make you feel a little bit more athletic, but change up the way you train, get a little bit of excitement and juice back into the way that you move, and honestly, just make training feel more exciting again. So check that out in our bio and let me know what you think. All right, guys, this brings me to point number 2. So before most of my athletes started working with me, they'd gotten really good at what I call the gray zone. So what that is your workouts are pretty tiring, pretty hard, you're moving pretty much the same speed pretty much all the time, right? So you get stuck in this place where you're not either going really slow or really freaking fast and really freaking hard, okay? So to benefit from high intensity interval training, you need to be able to hit that maximum output. You need to feel like you're running from a fucking tiger and then you chill. So most workouts that are done with the interval style setup are going to be anywhere from 3 to 5 to 8 minutes of actual hard effort. And then the rest of the workout, 30 to 40 minutes, you just get to chill. So because we're used to that gray zone, oftentimes we try to cram too much work and too many intervals into our shortened 30 to 45 minute. Because we're cramming too much work into too little time, that's going to necessitate that our recovery drops, which means our output will also drop. So it'll be hard, tiring, and you'll sweat, but you won't actually reap the benefits from the interval training that you're hoping to get. So to avoid this mistake, give this interval session a shot. You're going to do a warm up. Okay, nice and smooth, get your heart rate up, get everything ready so that you're ready to really rip the first 30 seconds. You're going to do 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off 3 times. After that 3 reps, you're going to rest for 5 minutes. And then you'll do it again, rest for 5 minutes, and then do it again. So 3 sets of 3 reps. Now, I want you to do that workout. And then next week, you're going to do the exact same workout, but you're going to shorten the rest between the sets to just 90 seconds. You'll be able to see the massive decrease in your body's output compared from the first workout to the second. That is to show you that your body needs recovery in between sets to be able to actually maintain the high output that you're looking for. So when it comes to doing HIIT training, making sure that you're actually allowing enough recovery between reps is going to really help amplify the results that you get because your output will be that much higher. All right, guys, and the last mistake that I see people make, and this might rub my CrossFit people or my Orange Theory people or whatever the wrong way, but complex movements do not belong in conditioning sessions and they hinder the results that you can get from. Yes, I said it. Snatches do not belong in a HIIT set. There's an absolutely universal rule that applies to all athletes regardless of skill level, and that is the more complex the movement, the lower your output is. A more complex movement requires that you focus more on your technique, more on your form, and more on keeping your body safe than it does your ability to actually push, throw, jump, run, whatever. More complexity means lower output. Lower output means decreased intensity. Oh, coach, but what about the professional CrossFit athletes who are doing snatches and then muscle ups and then running and then all that stuff? Yeah, they're absolute freaks of nature and I'm not them and neither are you. But this rule still applies to them, that if they just sat on an assault bike and absolutely ripped it, their output would still be higher than it is whenever they have all of those complex movements one after the other. So here's some rules that you can kind of follow. If your interval is shorter than 2 minutes, pick one movement and absolutely hammer it. You can change movements each interval, but don't waste time or output on switching machines and movements. Pick something that allows you to be cyclical in your movement. Assault bike, rower, running, ski erg, whatever it is, something that you can grip it, rip it, close your eyes and just go. And the second rule is, and you have to use your own judgment here, that if speed and output necessitates a significant drop from your ideal form, then you need to ditch that movement for these types of sessions. That doesn't mean that complex kettlebell movements, landmines, snatches, all of this type of stuff can't be used at a different point in your program. You don't need to ditch the movements altogether, but you have to realize that for these sessions, you're looking for a certain outcome. You're looking for a certain quality and quantity of your output. So if these movements require you to deviate from ideal form in a way that is going to increase your chances of injury and overuse, then you need to ditch them in favor of things that allow you to actually hammer the session that you're here for. All right, guys, appreciate y'all watching. That's some things that you can really consider whenever you're trying to integrate HIIT training into your programming, some mistakes to avoid, and how to start to look at your different routines to make sure that you're absolutely maximizing results. I appreciate you watching. Check out some of the videos that we have in our other playlists on how to lose body fat, how to gain more muscle, and how to just feel better for the long term. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace.